Looking for a hearty, budget-friendly dinner that's been a family favorite for over 15 years? Today I'm sharing one of our go-to casserole recipes with a few simple substitutions, a funny kitchen mistake, and a reminder that maybe, just maybe, we should all check the expiration dates on our spices. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the kitchen. Today I am making a Cajun-style beef and bean casserole with rice. This is one of those recipes that has been in our family rotation for years. I actually found it in a cookbook I bought at Chapters probably 15 or maybe even 20 years ago, right after I finished university. Money was pretty tight back then, so I was always looking for recipes that were affordable, filling, and could feed us for more than one meal. This one definitely checked all the boxes. Usually my husband is the one who makes this recipe, but today it's my turn. I did have to make a few substitutions because I didn't have all the original ingredients on hand, but honestly, it still turned out delicious. So let's get started. I gathered everything I needed first. Instead of the stewed tomatoes the recipe calls for, I used a can of crushed tomatoes. I also swapped the kidney beans for black beans, and instead of ground beef, I'm using 1 pound of ground venison. The first thing I did was get the meat browning in a frying pan. At the same time, I put a medium pot on the stove with 1.5 cups of water to bring it to a boil for the rice. I'm just using minute rice today because it's quick and easy. While those were getting started, I chopped up about 3/4 of an onion. The rest went into my little onion keeper so I could use it another day. I gave it a rough chop at first, and then I remembered I have a Pampered Chef food chopper. That made it so much quicker to get the onion into nice small pieces. Next, I shredded about 3/4 of a cup of cheese. The original recipe calls for cheddar, but today I used marble cheese because that's what I had in the fridge. By then, the water had come to a boil, so I stirred in 1.5 cups of minute rice, turned off the heat, covered it, and let it sit for about 5 minutes. While the rice was cooking, I opened the can of crushed tomatoes and black beans. I always like to give the beans a quick rinse in a colander before adding them to the recipe. I also gave my casserole dish a quick spray so it would be ready when everything came together. Once the meat was nicely browned, I soaked up the excess grease with a paper towel before throwing it in the garbage. Definitely don't pour grease down your kitchen drain. It can cause all kinds of plumbing problems later on. Then I added the chopped onion to the pan and let it cook until it became nice and soft. Don't forget to give your rice a stir every now and then so it doesn't clump together. Now it's time to assemble everything. Into the casserole dish went the meat and onion mixture, followed by 2 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning. If your family likes a little bit more heat, you could easily add another teaspoon. Next came the black beans and the crushed tomatoes. I started mixing everything together, and then I looked at it and thought, something doesn't look right. That's because I completely forgot to add the rice. Duh. So back to the pot I went, adding the rice a little at a time and gently folding everything together until it was evenly mixed. Thankfully, I caught it before it went into the oven. Once everything was combined, I smoothed it out in the casserole dish and popped it into a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 20 minutes. I had actually preheated the oven right when I started browning the meat, so it was ready to go. If your oven tends to run a little cooler than mine, you might find it needs closer to 25 or even 30 minutes. While dinner was baking, I took the opportunity to clean up the kitchen. I really like doing the dishes while supper is in the oven because then I'm not faced with a mountain of dirty dishes after we've eaten. Future me is always thankful when I do that. Before long, the timer went off, so I grabbed my cooling racks and took the casserole out of the oven. I removed the lid and sprinkled the shredded cheese all over the top. Then I just let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes so the cheese could melt and everything could settle before serving. And just like that, dinner was ready. Tonight I decided to serve it with my granny's homemade biscuit recipe. The photo in the cookbook showed a biscuit on the side and I thought, you know what? That sounds like a pretty good idea. If you'd like to see that biscuit recipe, make sure you subscribe because I'll be sharing that in an upcoming video. Now here's the funny part. While we were eating dinner, I kept thinking, this doesn't seem nearly as spicy as I remember. After supper, I checked the Cajun seasoning and discovered it had expired quite a while ago. Whoops. I guess it's officially time for me to go through my spice cupboard and check all those expiration dates. I'm willing to bet I'm not the only one who has a few mystery spices hiding in the back of the cupboard. That actually sounds like it would make a fun future video. There always seems to be another project waiting here, and honestly, that's part of the fun. Thanks so much for spending some time with me in the kitchen today. I really appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment below. I'd love to know, have you ever discovered an expired spice while you were cooking? Or do you have a favorite budget-friendly recipe that's been around for years? I hope you'll give this recipe a try. And until next time, bon appétit!